everybody, this is actually attempt number 2 of filming this video. I filmed it all but it had no sound, so we're attempt number 2. Hopefully this time goes a little bit better. I'm here with a crochet project today for some fingerless gloves. It's a really gorgeous pattern and I really hope that you enjoy it. So I have some yarn here. I did have a full ball of this. This is King Cole chunky tweed. I will leave a link in the description box down below. You will need one full ball, and then I've got a 6mm hook and then a pair of scissors to chop off my ends. Obviously there is 2 mittens that we have to create, and they are both exactly the same except for one row. So I'm going to show you how to complete the first mitten and then leave you to complete the second mitten, but joining back on that row that is just slightly different. It's very similar but just slightly different. So without further ado, let's get started. So one thing that I do want to quickly point out, if you do struggle with working in a round, it's not a continuous round, it's just a round, but if you do struggle with working in a round, you may want a stitch marker to help with that slightly. Okay then, so we're going to begin with a slip knot, and you can do this in whichever way that you prefer. Insert your hook and tighten. And you're going to chain 24 chains. So yarn over, pull through, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to work my way all the way up to 24. So here I have my chain of 24, and making sure that your chain is not twisted, you're going to slip stitch into the first chain that you worked. So making sure your chain isn't twisted all the way along, and then slip stitch into that first chain, like so. And now we're ready to work in a round. So to begin round number 1, you're going to chain 3, 2, and that is going to count as your first treble crochet. So I'm working in UK terminology, so this is a treble crochet, but in US terminology that is a double crochet. It's the same stitch but it's just different terms. So we're now going to move on to the next chain and we're going to work another double crochet. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. And you're going to work treble crochets into every single chain space around. So you should end up with a total of 24 treble crochets, including that chain 3 from the very beginning. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2. So pause the video here, work treble crochets into every single chain space around, and I will meet you back when you've finished that. Okay then, so I've now just worked my 24 treble crochets, and to complete this round I'm going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 3 that we worked at the very beginning, like so. So now we're ready to work row number 2, and again this row is going to start off with a chain of 3. This row is actually going to be repeated for the next couple of rows, but I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of this row. This row consists of working normal trebles and front post trebles around some of the stitches. Don't worry if you've never done that before, I will show you slowly how to do them. So we've just worked one normal treble and now we need to work a front post treble. And what the front post treble does is bring the stitch forward. So we're working with this stitch right here, so the next stitch after the chain 3. You're going to yarn over, bring your hook behind that stitch like so. You're going to yarn over and bring the yarn back in front, so you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2. And now you've worked a front post treble, and as you can see it's brought the stitch forward so we can clearly see the difference between the normal trebles and the front post trebles. Now we need to work a normal treble because we're alternating between normal and front post. So into this stitch here, the top of the stitch, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. Now we need to work a front post treble. So find your post that you're going to work around, yarn over, go behind the post, yarn over, bring your yarn in front, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now you need to work a normal treble, yarn over into the top of the stitch, work a normal treble, and now we need to work a front post treble. Yarn over, bring your hook behind, yarn over in front, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. So you're going to continue working that all the way along, alternating between normal trebles and front post trebles. If you still haven't got the hang of the front post treble, please feel free to rewind the video and watch through that section again, and I will meet you back when I have finished this round. Okay, so I've just finished working that all the way around. You should have ended up with a front post treble, and then I'm just going to slip stitch into the top of that chain 3 from the very beginning. Now, as I quickly mentioned, that row is going to be repeated. It's going to be repeated twice more, so that you have a total of 4 rows of treble crochet. So this first row was just a normal row of treble crochets, and then you're going to have 3 rows of treble crochets and front post treble crochets. So we've worked one of those. You need to work 2 more rows of the alternating between normal trebles and front post trebles. So begin row number 3 with a chain of 3, and that counts as your normal treble crochet. And then around your front post trebles, you're going to work front post trebles, yarn over, bring your hook behind, yarn over in front, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Into your normal trebles, you're going to work normal trebles like so, and you're going to work that all the way along. So you're going to work alternating between trebles and front post trebles for row number 3 and row number 4, and I will meet you back when I have finished my 4 rows. Okay then, so I've just worked those rows up, so I'm on row number 5 now, and you can see that the build up of the alternating between the normal trebles and the front post trebles has given a really nice rib effect to the work. So now we're ready to start 3-row pattern repeat that we're going to work along our mitten. So this 3-row pattern repeat is going to be repeated twice, and then we're going to do something a little bit different on the 3rd time that we repeat it, but it's still very, very similar. So you're going to begin with a chain of 1 for this round, and we're actually going to be working bead stitches. So to work a bead stitch, you're going to work a treble crochet, so yarn over, into the top of this chain 3, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And then you're going to wrap some stitches around this treble crochet. So yarn over, bring your hook behind the treble crochet, yarn over, bring your hook in front, so you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, bring your hook behind the treble crochet, yarn over, bring your hook in front, so you have 5 loops on your hook, then yarn over and pull through all of those loops, and then you have a bead stitch. So you're going to work that all the way along. After bead stitch, you need to skip a stitch and then work into the stitch after that. So yarn over, insert your hook into the top of the stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, bring your hook behind, yarn over, bring your hook in front, yarn over, bring your hook behind, yarn over, bring your hook in front, yarn over, pull through all 5 of those loops, and there you have a bead stitch. Skip the next stitch, working into the stitch after that, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, bring your hook behind, yarn over, bring your hook in front, yarn over, bring your hook behind, yarn over, bring your hook in front, yarn over, pull through all of those loops, and there you have your bead stitch. Skip the stitch and work into the stitch after that. So I'm going to leave you to complete row 5 now. It's just bead stitches all the way around. If you do need a reminder on the bead stitch, just go ahead and rewind this section of the video, and I will meet you back when I have completed round number 5. Okay then, so I've just got one last stitch, but that's the stitch I need to skip, and then I'm going to slip stitch into the top of this bead stitch like so. And there you should have worked row number 5. So row number 6 and row number 7, or the next 2 rows of the pattern repeat, are exactly the same. They are just treble crochets in every single stitch around. So you're going to chain 3, which is going to count as your first treble crochet, and then into every single stitch around, so this one, all the way around, you're going to work treble crochets. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. And you're going to work that all the way around. So you should have a total of 24 treble crochets. That's including your chain 3 from the very beginning. And at the end of your round, you're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 3, which is what we've been doing for the previous rounds. So pause the video here, work row 6 and row 7, which are treble crochets in every stitch around, and I will meet you back when you finish that. Okay, so there I have worked my next 2 rows, and that is your 3-row pattern repeat. So you're going to repeat those 3 previous rows once more, so you've got a bead stitch row and then 2 rows of treble crochet. So pause the video and work that once more, and I will meet you back for a slightly different but very similar next few rows. Okay then, so this is the mitten after we've done the 6 rows. So we've got bead stitch, then 2 treble crochets, then bead stitch, then 2 rows of treble crochet. So the next row is actually going to be a bead stitch row, but it's the row that we are going to introduce the hole for our thumb, and this row is the row that's slightly different, because if you look at your piece you can see that where we have slip stitched into the top of our chain 3s, we have kind of a seam running down it. So what we have to do is do for each hand, so that the seam is at the bottom, we have to do a different number of bead stitches before we do the hole. So that might be slightly confusing, but it will make more sense when we do this row and finish off our mitten. So we're going to work this mitten first. So to begin, chain 1 and work a bead stitch into the top of that chain 3. And for this row, you're going to work 4 bead stitches. So that one, then skip a stitch working into the next stitch. Number 2. Skip a stitch, work into the next stitch for number 3. and then skip a stitch and finally work into the next stitch for number 4. So you've just worked 4 bead stitches, and now we need to work a chain of 3. So 1, 2 and 3, and that is going to be the hole in which your thumb goes in. You're then going to skip 3 stitches, so 1, 2, 3, and into the next stitch you're going to work a bead stitch. And that is as easy as this row is. So nothing too fancy, nothing too confusing, just a chain 3. And then all the way along the rest of your row you're going to work bead stitches. So I'm going to leave you here and I'll meet you back for the next row. So if you're struggling with that row, you should have worked 4 bead stitches, then a chain of 3, and then back the way around you should have worked another 7 bead stitches. And now you're ready to slip stitch into the top of that bead stitch. So for the next 2 rows you're going to work rows of treble crochet. I'm going to work this row just so that you can see what to do at the chain 3. So chain 3 to begin this row, work treble crochets up to that chain 3 space. So that's 2 trebles, 3, 4, 8, so that's 8 trebles, and then into your chain 3 space you're just going to work 3 treble crochets. So 1, 2 and 3, and then you're actually going to, so where you would normally treble crochet into this stitch here, you're going to skip that stitch and just work into the next one here. So don't worry if you kind of didn't get that. What I will just suggest is that at the end of this row you count how many stitches you have. So you should have 24 treble crochets, including that chain of 3. And if you have more or if you have less, just unravel the row and work it again. Slip stitch into the top of the chain 3, and there we finish that row. So you have 1 more row to complete, and that is a row of treble crochets all the way around. Pause the video here and I will meet you back when you finish that. Okay then, so slip stitch into the top of your chain 3. I'm just going to chain 1 and cut my yarn so that I can sew that in and bring my hook forward. So again, nice little knot. So there you finished 1 mitten. So if you put the seam, if you find your seam and you kind of put that on the bottom, that's the hand that it's going to go for. This is your thumb hole here. You're going to work the next mitten now, and that's in the exact same way as this mitten. But row number 11 is slightly different. So what I'm going to do is suggest that you pause the video now. If you need to rewind and remind yourself of what the stitches are, then go ahead and rewind the video. Work row number 1 to 10 in the exact same way with the 2 pattern repeats in it, and I will meet you back for row number 11 and row number 12 so that I can show you how to finish off and work the other hand of the mitten. Pause the video and work the second mitten, and I will meet you back when I've finished that. Okay then, so this is my second mitten. As you can see, I've worked my rib rows and then the 2 pattern repeats. And now we are on row number 11, which is the slightly different row that I'm going to show you now. It's very similar, still using bead stitches. We just work a different amount of bead stitches before we work the chain 3. So chain 1, work a treble crochet and work a bead stitch. Like so. And for this mitten, you're going to work 8 bead stitches. So that's 1, skip a stitch, work into the next stitch, that's 2, and you're going to work all the way around until you have 8. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So here I've worked my 8 bead stitches, and now we need to work a chain of 3. So 1, 2, 3. Skip these 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and work a bead stitch into the stitch after that. Wrapping your stitches around like so. Skip the next stitch, work into the stitch after that, work a bead stitch. So you're going to work bead stitches for the rest of the row, which should be another 3 bead stitches. And then you can slip stitch into the top of that bead stitch like so. So for this row you should have worked 8 bead stitches, a chain of 3, and then 3 more bead stitches. So that is the different row between the mittens. And then for the next 2 rows you're going to work treble crochets in each stitch around. So chaining 3, which is going to count as your first treble crochet, and then treble crocheting another 23. Make sure that at the end of this round, because it can be a little bit confusing with the chain 3 space, make sure that you count the number of stitches that you have at the end of this round so that you have a correct total of 24, including that chain 3. Pause the video, I'm going to work these next 2 treble crochet rows and then we will be finished with our mittens. Okay then everybody, so here are the finished mittens. They are so cute with the little bead stitch detailing and the rib edging. I hope you enjoyed this video today. Hope you found it helpful and were able to create some of your own fingerless gloves. Leave me a like if you enjoyed this video. Comment down below any questions that you may have about this video or just questions that you want to ask me in general. I love reading all of your comments. Subscribe so you never miss another video. There's plenty of content going up every single week, crochet and knitting related, so if you want to join in the fun, hit that subscribe button. Also, if you get the chance, follow me on Instagram so you can keep up to date with all of my personal crochet and knitting projects as well. And thank you all once again for watching, and I'll see you very soon with another video. Bye!